Hey, it's Mazzy here. Here's my Record Store Day 2020 Drop 1 Pandemic Edition. It's not what you think, and I don't want to disappoint you. There'll be some records, but a few little things. A lot going on in the world. A lot going on around everywhere. A lot going on. I don't know what to say about that. So, I've been enjoying watching a lot of the Record Store Day videos. I particularly like Bob Bradley, the Bob Bradley Show in Tennessee. Every year he shows his little morning coffee prep and then driving under the dark skies of Nashville, I guess, and going to check out Record Store Day, and he's got a nice little way of showing the stores and everything. One thing though, I did that one year, not quite the same, because I only go to one store really in the morning, and what's lucky is about 15 stores in Seattle, give or take. But there's one I go to every year, and I usually get there at 6:30, which is early, but not overnight, not crazy early. And I'm usually first, second, or third in line, and it's a large store. It's been great. This year's different. You'll see after a few of these announcements. But Bob Bradley mentioned that this year he was talking to people. There was fun games that never happens. I've found every year the line in Seattle, I've met people every year and we've chatted and it's been a different thing. But anyway, I love Bob Bradley. I love Bobby. I love you, Bob. You're the Bob. Bob, great guitar player. Can't wait till his record comes out whenever. Anyway, Record Store Day 2020, 3 drops, August, September, October. I'll tell you soon how I experienced the day. A couple things. I also, before I went to bed last night, after watching some of the videos of Record Store Day, I did watch one of my favorite channels is Aaron, the Metal Theologian. Now, I don't know what the fuck the music he talks about half the time. It's death metal, dark metal, heavy metal, black metal, Argentinian, Bavarian metal, Russian metal, Ukrainian metal, Chilean goth metal, guys with mustaches and metal bands. And I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but he's one of those channels and one of those guys. I just would like to hang and sit around, let him put on anything, whether I like it or not. I can get into the moment experience. Although he does, I'm trying to look here in my little jazz section. At this point, he does like Sun Ra, and I love Sun Ra. And he seems to have a lot of, well, I have like that many Sun Ra records. I think he has about this many. And I wish I could send him a VCLT of the Sun Ra box that came out on Record Store Day. I didn't get it. So it's easy for me to say I'm going to give someone something, a big fucking box set for free, which I don't have it to give. So if anybody wants to send Aaron, the Metal Theologian in South Carolina, I believe, the new Sun Ra box that came out with 5-6 LBs, and put my name on it, I'd be very happy. The other thing before we get into the showing some records, I posted this on my Instagram channel. If you haven't followed Mazzy's Music, follow me on Instagram. We all get trolled here and there, and we get the bots, and we get like, young teenage girl bot show links, which is, I'm not condoning any of this shit. But I did get one a comment last night, just as I was going to bed. And it was from a video I did earlier in the year called 21 Bands from San Francisco. I'm the native San Francisco, as you know. I've said countless times, so you're probably tired of me saying that shit. But it's from El Mission. Now, I lived in the Mission District of San Francisco for 24 years, so I don't know if this guy or woman, in fact, I didn't even look at his channel, but anyway, here's what he wrote. And I take pride in this kind of stuff. I mean, that's the wrong way of putting it. I don't take pride. I'm amused. Fuck YouTube for recommending this bullshit channel. Just another asshole pretending his shitty rock and roll collection to the rest of the world. presenting his shitty rock and roll. So I am presenting my shitty rock and roll collection to you, and my shitty jazz collection, and my shitty out there collection, and my shitty Beatles collection. All my shitty collections I'm sharing with you, and you can decide to watch my shitty videos or not, right? Because that's what makes America great. The fact that you think Joel Selvin is a good guy makes you a fucking loser, bro. Holy shit. Joel Selvin and people like you made the scene here into shit because you think the 60s never fucking left. Now, Joel Selvin for years was the music critic, mostly rock and roll, pop critic for the San Francisco Chronicle. A couple things. He wrote a great book a number of years ago, which I read twice. I reread it on Altamont, the Altamont concert with the Stones and the murder and Flying Burrito Brothers and the whole thing leading up to that. Really great book, by the way. He's a good writer when he wants to be. Well, he's a good writer. Okay, whatever you think of him personally, who am I to judge? My son went to high school with his daughter and his son. No, his daughter. Excuse me. He doesn't have a son, I don't think. Anyway, so I've met Joel over the years several times. He also wrote a great book, which I think this guy's referring to in this video I did of 21 bands from San Francisco on rock and roll San Francisco. Great overview of the scene. Again, it is about the 60s and 70s scene and into the 80s, so that's one thing. Also, I like him because I know I've discussed my book, The Beatles England, I did with David Bacon. When that book came out in 1982, Joel Selvin wrote a feature in the book Sunday book section. Now, the San Francisco Chronicle Sunday book insert is not as elaborate and as prestigious as being reviewed in the New York Times book review Sunday, or at least what it used to be. But he did a feature on it. He was a pop music critic crossing over, writing this article on the Beatles England, our book. And he wrote a fabulous piece on us and how these two San Franciscans came to write this book. And it was a great review. And so, of course, I'm going to, he interviewed us and it was kind of a cool thing. So anyway, so the guy continues, you left out, okay, because you think the 60s never fucking left. You left out gay disco and rap music, total whitewashed bullshit. You fucking left out punk music too. No motherfucking metal. Anyone who reads this, join in trolling this prick. Total loser. Thank you, El Mission. That's your name, and I lived in the Mission. I did leave out a lot of that stuff. It was about my stuff growing up, and that's the stuff I was into. I don't remember if I didn't mention, I went through the punk scene with Dead Kennedys and Crime, and saw the bands like The Damned and Come Through, and the Mutants, and and the San Francisco and South Bay bands, and a lot of the Brit bands, The Damned, and the industrial bands come through San Francisco. So I experienced that. I didn't write it in these 21 bands about San Francisco. It's my channel, El Mission. If you're watching this, you write that. You make a video on that stuff. Gay disco. I used to go to the Stud before they moved, the original Stud. I used to go to the gay clubs where they had punk things also, and gay shows, not gay shows, but a mix of things. Sylvester, I didn't mention Sylvester, sorry. I didn't mention the rap thing because I wasn't a part of the rap scene. MC Hammer from the Bay Area. Okay, anyway, I'm amused by that. So the trolling continues. By the way, after this, you're going to see some records for this Record Store Day Pandemic Edition. Basically, I'm going to call this, well, I just said it was Record Store Day Pandemic, but it could be Record Store Day Takeout or Record Store Day Delivers. How about Record Store Day Delivers? That might be more appropriate once you read it. In the background, the Lounge Lizards, Queen of All Ears, with the Lurie brothers, Evan Lurie and John Lurie, Michael Blake, Stephen Bernstein, Jane Scarpatoni, Eric Sanko, Ben Perosky, and Calvin Wesson. Sort of little avant-garde jazz, white fusion, but cool thing. Anyway, stand by for Record Store Day Pandemic Edition. I hope you're not disappointed. One thing I forgot to say. The reason I brought up Aaron, the metal theologian, because he did a video. I'm not going to link it, just because you can find him if you subscribe to his channel. He did a thing last night where he did some dramatic recreations. Almost reminded me of sort of those sketch artists that work at trials when they can have photographers in. And I was amused. I'm going to get all like trounced, not politically correct, because I was amused. I thought he approached a specific dramatic. He took dramatic license and did something in a kind of an interesting way. Touched on it, I should say. Anyway, I'm going to show you records, Record Store Day Pandemic Edition. Now, the reason that, okay, I wasted your time for what, 9 minutes now, 8 minutes maybe. I hope I didn't waste your time, because you are going to see records now, but you're not going to see any Record Store Day records, because this is the first time in my life, I've been going to Record Store Day since the very first day that the archivist and I went to Amoeba Records in San Francisco, and there was one friggin' end bin, and I got an REM 7-inch at Record Store Day. Nobody was there. Nobody was there for Record Store Day, or it didn't seem like it. Nobody knew what it was. So this year I did not get up and go to the stores. I did everything online. Because of the new changes, because of the pandemic, because of the rules, stores were allowed to sell records online at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and 6 p.m. in the UK. Some waited till Sunday morning, but I ordered everything. So the archivist and I had our laptops, and there was 2 stores, independent stores. Didn't do the eBay thing, didn't overpay. And I have a list of about 10 things I kind of wanted, and I think I got all but 2. Now, I did get help later in the day from a friend on the vinyl community, a friend of mine I met on the vinyl community who lives in the Pacific Northwest, who happens to be out and about and knows some stores and was out there, and apparently got 2 things from me, which I don't have yet. So since I don't have any of the things I bought here, in a week or 2 I'll do a Record Store Day showcase of the things I got. But I was happy. I did not overpay. I did not do the eBay thing or overpriced Discogs. I went to a lot of independent stores. Now, one thing I'm going to say about that, the stores that are going to succeed are the that sell new records, are the indie stores that have really great e-commerce that you can buy easily on Instagram through PayPal. You don't have to fill out all this bullshit with your credit card numbers and all the addresses. PayPal kind of fills it in for yourself, or has just an easy way to buy records, not this complicated loading site that loads slowly. Now, it was interesting, Amoeba's site crashed. I went there later in the day just to check it out because I got an email that their stuff was going to be available. They totally fucked up. Sorry, Amoeba, I love you, but I mean, they've been having some issues. I find the smaller, leaner stores did really well, and I ended up, getting turned on to several stores. So I probably bought from 4 or 5 different stores. I'm not going to mention all the names. Do your own research. Maybe when I do my Record Store Day drop video and show records, I'll mention them. But easy. You can see what they had. I know a lot of people said the good, bad, and the ugly of Record Store Day. I like Record Store Day. I like going into stores. I miss that, but the separation, the waiting, this different thing this time, it just didn't appeal to me. So as an elderly gentleman, I decided to do it. And archivist and I went through some things, and she found a couple things for me, and we found it. Anyway, you'll see those. But having said that, Thursday and Friday and Saturday, a shitload of records dropped in my house from the mailman, the UPS man, the FedEx person, and the Amazon people that just kind of throw the shit on your front porch and don't even bother ringing the doorbells anymore. So I'm going to show you records, and a lot of these things I pre-ordered literally months ago, and they all seem to kind of drop now. So I'll go through them fast. I pre-ordered the new X album probably 3 months ago. X, LA band, punk band X. Cool record, beautiful cover, called Alphabet Land. Alphabet Land by X. John Doe, Exene, Serenka on DJ Bonebreak, and Billy Zoom. That was the last show I saw before the pandemic. This is something I ordered as an old Record Store Day in the UK, and after I did my David Sylvian video, avant-garde, spacey, moody, Rorty Davis, David Sylvian, Mark Westell, There Is No Love. Kind of a short piece, or shorter pieces. Very spatial, very moody. I'm a big David Sylvian fan, so it's great to get that. This is not a new record. I mean, this is a new record to me. It came out in the mid-90s, maybe? I'm sorry, 2006 on 4AD, Scott Walker, The Drift. Scott Walker from the Walker Brothers did a series of records, the last 2 or 3 records, did out there, avant-garde. You really hear David Bowie's influenced so much by Scott Walker, especially in his last few records. And I just love this. Very avant-garde, very dark, dirgy, moody, kind of scary in a way. Creepy record. Gorgeous record. Gil Scott-Heron, We're New Again. What can I say? Perfect record for our times. And I don't think I mentioned this one, but I finally got this. Was on Luca Bop. That's the David Byrne label. Alice Coltrane, The Ecstatic Music of Alice Coltrane. Turiya Sangi Gajidanda. Very, I want to say it's you know, I was gonna say religious, spiritual jazz, but it's not less jazz. It's more chanty but gorgeous. I played this twice yesterday. Just a beautiful record. Why do people do that? Really gorgeous, moody, spiritual piece, and it's just perfect for our times. All these records pull you in different directions for what's going on during this pandemic. I did get the Elliott Smith record, a special edition that came out. Was it 25th anniversary? Some anniversary. Beautiful, gorgeous book inside. And a demo tapes or not demo tape, I'm forgetting. I haven't listened to this yet. But beautiful photographs and essays of the time. But just really great. Sort of Elliott's time in Portland. Also has some lyrics, things like that. So Elliott Smith, love Elliott Smith. So excited to listen to this record. Now, for my birthday, was on the 23rd, first day of Virgo. The archivist gave me this record. I've only have 2 other Bill Frisell records, and I always like them, and sometimes I don't always love, but this is on Blue Note. This is one of the best sounding records I've heard in ages. It's a gorgeous sounding record. It's got a little bit of the Alafarka Torre sound of guitar playing, not obviously as rhythmly, but some of the rhythms have that, but more of a calmer version of that. But his guitar playing is fantastic on this record. Again, this is a great audiophile sounding record and gorgeous record. So if you like Bill Frisell, if you like guitar playing, easy record, a lot of covers, but a gorgeous record, double record set. We Shall Overcome, it ends with. What the world needs now is Love, Sweet Love, the Burt Bacharach, Hal David song. Another perfect record of our times. I highly recommend this. Just an easy record, and easy listening, but not with all the trappings of what easy listening is to some people. Highly recommend it. Probably one of the best records of the year so far. Then came in just literally on Friday 2 of the delayed Tone Poet records. The Kicker, Bobby Hutcherson, great vibe player, used to see him in San Francisco in the 70s. This record actually never came out initially, so it's kind of like a total later release put together by Tone Poet and Blue Note, and the Jackie McLean, probably the best cover Reed Miles ever designed. Great alto sax player, Herbie Hancock, Cecil McBee, Roy Haynes, and Charles Tolliver. But this is a gorgeous record. This is a must-have in my book. I'm just, I get almost all the Tone Poets, and I'm really excited by those. I finally got, this is my favorite Lou Reed album. Obviously everyone knows it, Walk on the Wild Side. I haven't listened to this version yet. This is a Speaker's Corner all analog version. Now I have an original Dynaflex version, RCA, the real thin things. Now I'm a fan of Dynaflex. Anyone who says they're shitty, they're not shitty records. They're pressed well. They're just, during the oil crisis, they used less oil and thinner, like what, 190 grams, whatever they are, I don't know. Very thin, very flexible, like Gumby. They're Gumby records. But I've done a couple of videos with Michael, Germany, 45 audiophile RPM, 45 RPM audiophile, whatever it is. And he raved about this. He's into audiophile records. Highly recommend you check his records out. He does features on Speaker's Corner, which is a version of, on Music Matters Jazz, on Analog Productions, on Intervention Records, on all the audiophile records. So it's a big investment, a big thing, but it's great because I don't know any other channel that just really goes by the audiophile. Jazz, rock and roll, classical, female vocalists, all kinds of stuff. Great channel. But he turned me on to Lou Reed. This particular version, he says it's great. So sometimes you trust someone when you start understanding their taste and what they're talking about. So like if I was to hypnotize you to buy a certain record, which I may do, we'll see how this goes. This great Pixies record, one of my favorite covers of On Oliver V23. Can't remember if I showed this. This came in about 2 weeks ago, but I don't think it was on this. But the Pixies, Bossa Nova. I almost forgot the name of the record. I did a video on these guys before, and I saw them as an opening act in a small, tiny club in Seattle about 4 years ago when their first album came out. Lemon Twigs from the East Coast, from Jersey, I believe. Two brothers. Now, these guys, I don't want to say geniuses. They're too young to be geniuses. They're in their early 20s now. I think they were teenagers when their first albums came out. Their album before this was sort of a concept rock opera album about schools. Overambitious in a way, not as interesting, but this album is fantastic. Now, power pop. If you mix any kind of, all the power pop bands you love with Wings, with the Raspberries, with Todd Rundgren, with the Beach Boys, you get these intricate harmonies and arrangements, and they're so glammed out here. Look at this. I mean, come on. How can you not like this? So 70s. If you like sweet and all that kind of 70s poppy, glammy kind of stuff, fantastic record. It's going to make one of my best of the year. Two brothers, the Diodario brothers, not to be confused with the guitar strings. Again, because of Mr. Michael in Germany. Okay, I have this album. I have a kind of a shitty pressing of it, but I did get the 245 RPM MoFi. I love this Curtis Mayfield record, Superfly. Come on, what's not to love about it? So, haven't heard this yet. And to me, this is the best Dire Straits album. I know people like Brothers in Love, which was a digital record. To me, their first one is so different, so influenced by J.J. Cale. But their self-titled record with Sultans of Swing, to me, this is a perfect record. It's better than Love Over Gold. It's better than any other one. Love this record. I saw these, but of course, Michael did his videos on Mobile Fidelity, and he takes this big friggin' box of records that came from the United States to Dusseldorf, Germany, and it's like this many audiophile records, and it's like, oh my God, I need to hear his system one of these days. And I think, okay, audiophile again. Now, I ordered these in a while. These are catalog items from Music Matters Jazz. I have about 75 Music Matters Jazz. That's audiophile, Blue Note Records. These are mostly 45 RPM. These are not new releases, but they're new to me. And every few months I've been buying a few more. But Tomcat, Lee Morgan. Presenting Lee Morgan. The best sounding record you'll ever get. Listen to Michael, how he talks about these things, because if you don't get these now or soon, and they're expensive, but compared to originals, and they're going to kick ass over 70s pressings, and they probably will kick ass over original recordings, but different, because these emulate the tapes, whereas the Rudy Van Gelder cuts of the 50s and 60s, they couldn't really cut everything that was on those tapes. People disagree. People have a different taste. totally understand. But I'm tired of getting old smelly records and I don't pay hundreds of dollars, for an old 50s original copy of a Blue Note record. Some people do, and I owe the power to them. I'd rather pay these, pay the 50 to 75 bucks or 80 bucks and get a pristine copy that I know it's going to be great and just sounds friggin' amazing. Now, there are people that don't like the 45 flip where you have to, you have 2 records on 45 RPM. I'm used to be one of those people, but now for certain times I love it. Cliff Jordan. This is a great record with Cliff Jordan, Art Farmer, Sonny Clark. Sonny Clark keeps turning up on my collection so much. George Tucker and Lewis Hayes. And, oh God, this was 1958 recording. Love it. Going Up, Freddie Hubbard. Beautiful recording. All these are gatefolds with pictures from the Francis Wolff archive that Michael Cascuna owns. So this is again 1961 with Freddie Hubbard, Hank Mobley and Lee Morgan are becoming two of my favorite musicians that I really didn't know that much before 10 years ago. McCoy Tyner, talked about him, seeing him live in the 70s. Paul Chambers and the great Philly Joe Jones on drums. And lastly, an album that is not for would be everyone's cup of tea, but Gretchen Morgenthau III, not to be confused with Thurston Howell III, who along with Ginger, Marianne, Gilligan, the Skipper, and the Professor were stuck on Gilligan's Island. It was beyond a 3-hour tour, but Gretchen Morgenthau, I don't know, and I'm pronouncing that right, the third. Look at this cover. Look how psychedelic that cover looks. But this is 1964. Again, one of the best Reed Miles covers. Now, this is out there. This is almost like jazz classical fusion. Gorgeous record. Again, not for everyone. You can probably get a Blue Note 75. I don't think there's any other audio file. This may be still available on Music Matters Jazz. And if you like something a little more experimental, I highly recommend this. Lee Morgan on trumpet again. Gretchen Morgenthau III, a trombone player. I don't think I have any other album led by a trombone player, right? Jackie McLean, alto sax. Bobby Hutcherson, vibes. Bob Cranshaw bass, and Tony Williams on drums. 4 tracks, all written by Gretchen. Look at this. I'm excited about this record. I mean, again, it was a little out there, classical, fusion-y jazz, experimental. I'm not going to say anymore. Anyway, that was my record store day first drop, where I showed no record store day records. You'll see those in the weeks to come, hopefully. So if you got through this, I hope I didn't disappoint you. Mazzy loves you. Enjoy the music. We're here for the music. It's about the music, not the crazy, dramatic, crap. And I know it's good to acknowledge that stuff, but I'm not directing people to it. Love ya. To each his own.